Hi, Bridget here from Forward Focus Hypnotherapy at Green Acres with today's positive tip, which is barefoot walking. This is really associated with the practice of grounding or earthing. In my blog on the benefits of mental health of gardening, I mentioned monks and how those assigned to gardening were the most contented. This is one of the theories behind why. Grounding, put very simply, is the act of walking barefoot in nature, so on soil, grass, or sand at the beach, pebbles, for approximately 30 minutes every day. Why? Well, in much the same way that the electrical circuitry in your home is earthed, we too can benefit from connection with the Earth's surface. It seems that our bodies become imbalanced with modern day hustle and bustle, and a way to rebalance them is to expose ourselves to the Earth's surface. Our bodies become more and more positively charged with our daily activities, rushing around, driving cars, operating computers, machinery, etc. And the Earth, being naturally slightly negatively charged, helps to neutralize the imbalance. So when we were living in caves back in the day, we didn't put shoes between us and the earth as we went about our daily activities, and the balancing took place quite naturally. But the process of walking is something that we just take for granted. There is so much that goes on as our heel hits the ground and then our weight transfers across the foot towards the big toe. The sequence of walking is known as gait, and it's described in more detail in the blog that accompanies this video. Now, the sole of the foot is covered in tiny, tiny, tiny little pressure sensors on the ends of all the nerves, and they're known as proprioceptors. Now, proprioception is our perception of where our bodies are in space and motion. So the fact that I've raised my arm, my brain knows that my arm is in the air. And these receptors send information to the brain in super fast time about the surface of the ground, its firmness, softness, how level and how secure it is. So we instinctively know if we're on safe ground. So this system over time has mostly switched off due to wearing shoes and walking on hard surfaces that blunt these senses and act as barriers to the natural world. Such a shame, really. But our body and brain were designed to use this information for a very good reason. There are in the region of around 200,000 information gathering nerve endings on the soles of our feet. That's phenomenal if you think about it. These neuropathways have become unused, and much like unfrequented footpaths, become less easy to find and to use. There is now a chunk of our brain that is redundant, waiting to be cleaned off and reused. Reconnect our brains to our feet and the proprioception messages start again, and our brains become surprisingly more adaptive to change and more responsive. That's quite surprising, isn't it? Opening up those old pathways, it reconnects part of the brain. Cavemen were able to respond very quickly to change beneath their feet, their brains responding to the sensory feedback really quickly. Likewise, we were more capable of getting from A to B over rough terrain too. Now, reflexology is a system of massage that is mostly associated with the feet. It utilises areas of the feet to access reflex points that are linked to every other part of our body, including our organs, and using pressure to restore function and balance to the body. Cavemen didn't need this, as they stimulated their feet on a daily basis. However, modern humans have been found lacking and need to reconnect. We need to find the balance again. Reflexology doesn't just relax the structures in the feet, but it also improves sleep and reduces the symptoms of depression. Now, the big toe is a very important structure, both from a biomechanical viewpoint for physical balance, but it also is the reflex point for balance throughout the rest of the body and receiver of very many messages from the brain. If you've been following my 50 positive tips to help in tough times on Facebook, you will see a bit of a theme going on, really. As much as promoting good mental health, we are combating poor mental health, and often the negative effects of extended production of the stress hormone cortisol. Studies on various forms of grounding have shown the benefits are such that it reduces pain and inflammation, due mostly to a reduction in the cortisol levels. It increases levels of relaxation. It calibrates our bioclock, re-establishing good sleep patterns and menstrual cycle patterns. Also, the overall circadian rhythms. Changes in our blood chemistry are noted as well, indicating a positive immune response, and linked to this, a reduced risk of heart disease. Regulation of the nervous system, reducing stress and anxiety, covered in the positive tips numbers 9 and 19. It also boosts our energy levels. So it's responsible for very many things. All of these are hormonal processes driven by our mood and certainly the primitive parts of our brains. I educate clients in my introductory meetings on the role of the negative and primitive part of the mind and help them to retrain their brains to see and acknowledge the positives. Excuse me. Practicing any of the tips that I have published during this lockdown period as blogs and or videos will help you to do the same. Should progress be slow and you need a little boost, a little bit of a push along that pathway, then please do contact me. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now. Let me see some of your pictures of those